President Trump used a rare primetime White House address to highlight his economic agenda and announced a $1,776 warrior dividend for active duty service members funded by rising tariff revenue. He cited easing inflation from pandemic peaks, extended tax cuts, and increased defense and border spending as signs his administration has steadied an economy he says was in disarray when he took office. The White House said about 1.45 million active reserve military members will receive a one-time housing-related supplement enabled by higher customs duty collections. Trump also outlined plans for future tax refunds, voiced confidence that interest rates and mortgage costs will fall, and promoted efforts to lower healthcare and prescription drug prices. While Democrats criticized the speech, Trump presented his first year back in office as one of renewed economic momentum and global influence, looking ahead to 2026. White-collar workers are increasingly anxious as layoffs rise, AI threatens job security, and hiring in office-heavy sectors like tech and finance has slowed. Although unemployment among college-educated workers remains relatively low at 2.9%, it has climbed from last year, and confidence in finding new jobs has dropped sharply. Surveys show educated workers now believe they are more likely to lose their jobs and less likely to quickly find new ones than workers with less education, reversing past trends. Personal accounts highlight longer hiring processes, lower pay, heavier workloads, and household cutbacks amid persistent inflation and high living costs. Even traditionally stable workers, including government employees, feel newly precarious as layoffs, funding uncertainty, and rapid AI development reshape the labor market. California will stop enrolling adults with unsatisfactory immigration status in its Medi-Cal program starting January 1st as the state confronts a widening budget deficit. The policy marks a revulsion for Governor Gavin Newsom, who had expanded state-subsidized healthcare to low-income residents regardless of immigration status, arguing it was both morally right and cost-saving. Enrollment far exceeded expectations, pushing medical costs for undocumented adults to an estimated $12.5 billion this fiscal year and contributing to a projected multi-billion-dollar budget gap. State officials say the enrollment freeze and future premiums for current enrollees are fiscally necessary, with analysts estimating the changes could save $10.6 billion by 2030. Healthcare providers and local officials warn the rollback may lead to worse health outcomes, higher emergency room use, and increased homelessness, while the issue also carries political implications for Newsom nationally. President Trump told the Wall Street Journal he is unsure whether Republicans will retain control of the House in the next midterm elections because the benefits of his economic policies may not reach voters in time. He pointed to major investments, trade deals, tariffs, and domestic manufacturing as signs of progress, but said he cannot predict how these results will translate into electoral support. Although the economy has grown overall, uneven gains, higher prices for everyday goods, and persistent inflation concerns have left many voters dissatisfied. Polls show weakening approval of Trump's economic record, and recent Republican losses have intensified fears that Democrats will center midterms on cost of living issues. Trump cited the historical difficulty of midterms for incumbents, defended tariffs as crucial for security and leverage, and said his priority is governing rather than forecasting voter reactions. China's goods trade surplus surpassed $1 trillion for the first time, reaching $1.08 trillion in the first 11 months of 2025. Exports grew while imports fell, reflecting China's expanding dominance across global supply chains, from basic consumer goods to advanced sectors like EVs, solar panels, and semiconductors. Despite steep U.S. tariffs, China has effectively rerouted exports toward Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and especially the EU. This widening surplus is heightening global tensions, with European leaders, most notably Emmanuel Macron, warning of potential retaliatory tariffs. Analysts caution that China's export volume advantage, boosted by a weaker yuan, is generating growing concern worldwide and could strain trade relationships further. In Silicon Valley, men in tech aged 30 to 60 are increasingly seeking face, neck, and eyelid cosmetic procedures due to fears of aging out in the workforce. Key factors driving this trend include hybrid work post-pandemic, seeing themselves on Zoom more often, and loosened skin from weight loss drugs like Ozempic. Men in their 40s prefer less invasive procedures like mini facelifts, while those in their 50s and 60s opt for eyelid and more extensive surgeries to look up to 10 years younger. Plastic surgeons report a five-fold increase in male tech clients over the past 5 years, with the most notable demand among venture capital and private equity professionals. Experts note that unlike the past, when men were judged primarily by accomplishments, tech men now feel pressure to maintain a youthful appearance as a key factor in career success and confidence. Bank CEO Masayoshi Son is working with the Trump administration on a plan to build Trump industrial parks across federal land in the U.S., funded partly by hundreds of billions of dollars from a new Japan and U.S. trade deal. The parks would manufacture components for AI infrastructure, such as fiber optic cable, data center hardware, and eventually AI chips using expertise from Japanese tech companies. Sun initially proposed $1 trillion megacity in Arizona, but the plan has shifted toward multiple smaller industrial clusters after discussions with administration officials. Although Japan has pledged $550 billion for strategic U.S. industries, the project still faces major hurdles, including funding needs, land use approvals, and unresolved details about production and construction. SoftBank is pursuing commitments from the firms like Toshiba, Murata, and Fujikura while continuing broader efforts to support U.S. semiconductor development amid concerns about AI infrastructure investment bubble. Europe's rapid shift from fossil fuels to renewables has cut emissions sharply but pushed electricity prices to the highest levels in the developed world, hurting industry and fueling political backlash. Companies are closing plants or pausing investments as high and volatile energy costs make Europe uncompetitive, especially in energy-intensive sectors and AI infrastructure. The continent's strategy retiring fossil fuels before renewable systems were fully built left consumers and businesses paying for both costly imported gas and expensive renewable-related grid upgrades. Major green projects, including offshore wind and hydrogen initiatives, are being delayed or reconsidered as governments face huge investment needs and rising public frustration. While advocates expect renewables to become cheaper over time, critics argue that in regions with weakened sun or inconsistent wind, system-wide costs will stay high and threaten economic competitiveness.